Hi everyone. Well, I just this last 24 hours, I've been inspired just by some of the things that happened to talk about why I really love human design. And this is just very personal for me. You know, it's not meant to do anything except no one seems to have actually done anything like this. As talked about, why they love human design. They talk about human design, all the technicalities and the mechanics, and you know, but people talk about why they love racing cars, and they're mechanical. So I wanted to talk about what it is and really why I've put 8.5 years into it. I mean, that's one of the reasons I really love human design, is that I've put 8.5 years into it, and it's giving me more return on investment in terms of really inspiring me, really giving me clarity, bringing me back down into my body, allowing my mind to relax and let go of so many of the things it thought it had to control or figure out or be in charge of or make decisions on. It's really de-stressed my body, and it's continuing to do so on a daily basis. I can measure it, maybe over a week or so, but you can really see how my body is just, I can feel how my body is really just relaxing and opening up. And it's not just the fact I have massage once a week or whatever. In fact, it's in the massage once a week that I really get to see this. But it's fantastic for my body. I love it. That's one of the reasons I love human design, why I love it so much. It has such a slow, steady, but powerful impact on unwinding so much of the stress in my body and really allowing my body to come back to what it was designed to be, to operate the way I enjoy, to work in a way that's natural for me. It hasn't enabled me to sit in lotus, position, not at all, but just the sense of really enjoying being in my body and seeing where so much, when I was concerned about things, trying to figure things out, how my body would just reflect that concern and tension that was going on in my mind. So it's really good for my body. That's one reason I really love human design. It's also incredibly liberating and freeing for my mind. 40 years ago, over 40 years ago, I dealt with I actually met someone who I'd still am inspired by and do what they showed me and support, who really showed me how to go within. Until then, I was going nuts because I was thirsty. I was really, really thirsty for what it was in life that would fulfill me, what it was in life. I didn't know what it was, but I was really thirsty for something. And when I first heard this person speak in person, when I was within their range, in a room that they were in, something in my mind just went spinning and then pop. And right inside here, in my body, in my heart, my gut, wherever it was, something just said, he's got what I want. And it was such a clear experience for me. And back in those days, he talked about how, the mind really takes us off track. But it was done in a way that, well, I was in a place, and many of us at the time were in a place where we were still operating and conditioned to be strategic. And so, okay, the mind's the enemy, and therefore that means that's a bad guy, and whatever we're doing, this meditation is the white knight that's going to come in, and we would frame everything in terms of, you know, some savior coming in to liberate us from jail or from some horrible experience, you know. And it was all very much framed in a seven-centered way in our thinking, and therefore it was difficult to relate to cleanly and honestly and see this is something that's inherent within every single person. I mean, every great teacher in the world has said what you're looking for is within you. So anyway, for 40 years I've been meditating and you know, really benefiting from what this person shared with me and from their inspiration over more than 40 years. But when it came to living my practical life, all I could fall back on, because they weren't there, they weren't running a human potential seminar or trying to teach people how to make more money or anything like that. They just said, you know, I can show you how to go within. And they did. And they continue to inspire me and show me how to do that. But they weren't there to run my life any more than I'm here to run your life. And so I didn't quite know what to do. And of course, I tried to figure it all out with my mind, and being able to meditate kept my head above water and gave me wonderful, wonderful experiences. But then when I'd get into a relationship or get into a business, I would make decisions and they would gradually go downhill, and I'd get into trouble. And the relationship would break up, or the business would fold, or I'd go bankrupt, or I didn't go bankrupt yet in time, but, you know, I've been around with zip money, you know. Or I would find myself loving what I did, but working so hard and pushing so hard to make it happen that I just walked away, you know, because it was exhausting me, burning me out. Even being a generator, it burned me out. And the joy went out of it because I was just working harder than if I'd had a job. And most jobs bored the hell out of me anyway. So I didn't know what to do with myself and my life. Now, 8 years ago, I came across human design, 8.5 years ago. And I was going for something that I really thought I wanted and doing what I thought was the right thing. And it was gradually unraveling, you know, and there were many things I could put the blame on. I could say the world economic crisis, you know, which did have a big impact and influence. But when I look back on it, it was me doing what I thought I should do and ignoring what was actually happening. And human design came along and I studied it and studied it and studied it. And that was good and inspiring and very intricate and complex, and, you know, it challenged me more than almost anything else because of the intricacy of the whole thing. But a year or two, 2.5 years later, it was like everything I'd been doing, relationships, you know, the business I was creating overseas and all sorts of stuff was just not happening. And I had to go back to Australia. And I did. And there was nothing really to do there except find a place to live, look for a job, and start from scratch. And for the first time, I really started living my design. And it was slow, a couple of years before things really started to shift. But I did let go of so much in that process of trying to make things happen in many, many ways. And then found that things started happening, not just to me, but for me is a better way of putting it. And they started to, you know, I started to move in a different way through the world, and various things came along. And when I moved with my mind, it would very quickly fall apart or become difficult or not work out. And when I just allowed strategy and inner authority, and it wasn't like I'm sitting there going, okay, strategy and inner authority, think, think, think. It was just, I let go. And I responded to what was happening. And when I was engaged by something, I made a decision with my sacral inner authority. You know, basically I followed human design. And things just started to slowly get better and then slowly get better, but I was on a plateau. And then I met someone and made great friends with them and moved into their house, and things took off. And over that last 6 years or so, 5 or 6 years, my life has just gradually moved in a completely different direction to what I think, but it's so much better. I'm doing what I'm doing now. You know, all the videos and the courses we're doing, the consultations, all of that is just developed very naturally and organically. And every time I start to say, oh, this is a burden, I've got to really make it happen, and I get like that, it becomes a burden, and I let that go, and it keeps growing naturally, and it keeps unfolding beautifully. And this is why so much of the stress has fallen away. But my life, the second thing I love about human design is it really moves you to where you belong, not where you think you belong. And it does it elegantly. And every step along the way is enjoyable. Now, way back in the day, as I meditated, and I have for so long, you'd think, well, you're so tuned in, you'd really go with the flow and everything would work out. But it wasn't one of these meditations that you do to make things happen. It wasn't an old strategy, you know. It was really a way of going inside and getting in touch with what is happening. Really, life. And I do other meditations that are very much about creating your reality and working magic and doing great things in the world and really exploring other dimensions and other worlds. Done that for 30 years. And yet the whole way I approach that and the timing when I do these things, how I don't go chasing them. I just, when I'm ready and the time's right, I do this, and then I do this, and I do this. Even that I've been doing for 30 years now or more has gone to a whole new level of elegance. My health is better. I don't feel, how can I put this? I don't feel the pressure of even proving myself spiritually or even having to make a relationship work. Not that I don't want them to, and not that I don't do the work for that to happen. But it's no longer this burden that my mind is carrying. I'm no longer awake, but making decisions with my mind, which I'm now realizing is basically dreaming while you're awake. So human design has very gently and naturally put me in touch with what is happening. And because of that, my body's more relaxed. Where I'm living and working, and the development of relationships and all that is happening very comfortably and organically. Even when the challenges come up, I'm in a better place to deal with them, so they're not so much of a big deal. I mean, there are times when it's like, you know, tear your hair out, or God, what's happening? Or I feel really confused. But it's no longer as though the world's ending. It's no longer that, you know, if I'm not patient, that I have no sense that I'll ever get out of this. In fact, I'm really learning that when I'm just patient with life, it's obvious that this is another thing I love about human design. It's put me so clearly in touch with the fact that life is working for me and working with me and doing everything it can to love me and to make this life truly fulfilling. And that all the ideas and concepts that I've developed in my mind in order to make my life work, to control my life, whoa, that's what was creating all the stress. Because there was always a disconnect between what I think should be happening or what I thought was happening and what is happening. Beyond that, liberating my mind to be able to go and explore, well, human design has taken such a burden off my mind. I'm beginning to explore not only how beautiful this world is and what a gift it is to be alive and to enjoy it on a daily basis. Not, I'm enjoying it on a daily basis, aren't I? But wow, I'm enjoying this. Even when I'm confused, even when I'm uncertain, even when I need help, I'm enjoying asking for help. And it's really obvious when I start to stress too much. And it's becoming clear that I can let go of that. And so my mind is gradually going, it's becoming more free. It's becoming more free to be aware of what's going on in my body, what's going on in the world around me. It's free to receive and be open to new ideas when the time is right and when the energy is right for those ideas to drop in and make a contribution. It gives me a way of deciding, is this the right time and do I have the energy to do this? And beyond that, as someone who's explored a lot of metaphysics and spirituality, I mean a lot, for 40 years or more, who's really, in a sense, dedicated their life to that, as well as being practical and doing business and learning about relationships and all that sort of stuff, as someone who's really put a big, big priority on real, authentic spirituality and real, authentic metaphysics, and even what's authentic within science or in relationships between people. I mean, one of the things I truly love is being authentic or finding things that truly are authentic, that have this inbuilt quality of being themselves and giving you full freedom to be who you truly are. Not compromising, but going for resolution. I love that sort of stuff. And human design just sets you up for that to happen. Yeah, human design is a system and it's made up of ancient things and, the cutting edge science. But for me, it's a fundamental change in the way I live my life for the better. It's what human design is. And I love that. I love fundamentally changing my life for the better and letting that flow over to other people. I love embracing life and truly experiencing it, truly being grateful through savoring life every moment that I can. I love that. And when, I get distracted from that or it's not happening and that, there's an urge and a thirst in me to find that again. And human design just sets me up. Living my design, not just studying it. Studying it's important to some extent. You need to know what you're getting involved with. You need to know where to put the key in the car at minimum. And how to put petrol in the tank. Some people love to take the whole car apart, clean it up, tune it up and put it back together again. Great. But the real joy comes in driving the car and seeing what the car is capable of. And hearing it purr. and having that feeling of freedom when you drive on a beautiful day in a car. I remember one day driving south from San Francisco on one of the freeways on a really beautiful day. And I turned on the radio, and they're a band called the Mamas and the Papas singing California Dreaming. You know, and there I am driving out of San Francisco, you know, one of the original hippies, at least in Australia. And there I am, you know, living the dream. And to have that sense of just life unfolding in that delightful way, even sometimes when you make mistakes, and being able to really take responsibility for it without having to excuse yourself with a whole bunch of mental ideas or excuses or reasons, but just deal with it and let life support you in dealing with it and healing it from it and learning from it. I mean, human design is so liberating. And then when your mind is liberated, I'm beginning to glimpse edges of it, but I don't think any of us really have any idea of how profound and wonderful the mind can be, not in running your life, not in being the master of your life, but in adding value to your life. That's what the mind's true role is to add value, not to run the show, but to add value, add value, add value, add value. Spiritually, metaphysically, emotionally, mentally, physically, on every level, to add value, and to have your body be the authority about when it's ready to accept that value, rather than trying to do it conceptually, you know. When someone truly gives you a wonderful gift when you need it, you don't have to have a concept. Gratitude just pours out. And then the freedom for having a mind that can soar without distracting you from the fact that you're alive, without trapping you in a prison of concepts. And then having the ability to take your unique, my unique perspective on the world, which is what I'm doing now, and just share it with you. You know, what they call in human design your outer authority. I suppose it all boils down to, you know, human design really works for me in giving me what I really have always wanted, what I've always been thirsty and hungry for. Now, I've had access to that for over 40 years. But then what human design does, it aligns so beautifully with that. But then what it does is it's brought it into my physical life. So that my physical life and the way I live my physical life can truly reflect my inner experience. And more than just my inner experience, the inner reality that lies within each and every one of us. See, the external world will reflect your inner experience. But the love, the peace, the power, the beauty that lies behind all that, that we can all experience within us, when that's reflected out in your outer world, when that's reflected in your experience of life, when that shines through, the beauty, the love, it's not tangible, but okay, your outer world reflects your inner experience, but does it have the juice? Does it have the love? Does it give you the fulfillment and the sense of feeling of success and the peace? And does it bring you the delight? that all of us, especially our bodies, the part of us that is actually human, and that's all it'll be. You know, this body is not going to suddenly take off somewhere. You know, one day it'll return to where it came from, to the elements where it came from, to the earth and to the stars. But while I'm here and alive, for this part of me that's intricately woven with my consciousness and, you know, intimately connected with my mind. But this part can experience the beauty that's beyond my mind. It's even beyond my consciousness. The love that allows me to be conscious. The love that allows me to think and feel. The love that gives me life. It's not even like any other form. It's not like romantic love, but the sheer beauty and love that lies behind all existence. Now, as I said, I was experiencing that for consistently. Not every day, every moment or anything like that, but I was able to plug into that when I really needed to, quite easily. A bit of effort, but quite easily. Over and over again, as much as I wanted. I could drink as much as I needed to drink. But to then have that available to my body and expressed and reflected in my physical life, human design has given me that key, those keys that enable that to happen. So it permeates through everything. And the ideas of being tolerant of other people, accepting of who I really am, understanding the way the world works, and having compassion, rather than just being concepts, ways of thinking. They're emerging naturally in my life as a straightforward reality. It's what I love about human design is it takes it out of theory. Doesn't even promise that it's going to do that at all. It says, you know, if you're a generator, you'll experience satisfaction. And yeah, you know, eventually for those who really go into it a bit, you know, outer authority. And it doesn't talk about all the side benefits, the added value that comes with that. You know, when your mind is liberated from the burden of making decisions and your body can relax and enjoy life. Oh my God, it's so clear. Now, 90% of the world's stress and problems, probably a lot more in the high 90s of that, is caused by that. Trying to figure it out with your mind, putting your mind in a place where it has to carry a burden that's not suited to carry. And trying like hell to live up to something you think should happen and being disconnected from life itself. On top of that, human design's fascinating. I love that about it. You can go so deeply, you know, it's fascinating to the mind, but it's also when you live your strategy in inner authority, it's fascinating what you discover. If you've studied it, let it go and let the understanding come to you through experience. I mean, what a way to study and learn, where the learning comes to you when you're ready for it and makes itself obvious. Life is obviously, as I said, taking care of you, trying to, doing its best to love you and to entertain you and to inform you. I mean, wow. And to have that, even a bit, and then to have it consistently, and then have that grow slowly and organically into the consistent background and foundation to your life. Obviously not always there. No human being ever is. You know, I get angry, I get annoyed, I get afraid, I get confused just like anybody else. But that's not my background energy or my normal experience. Though that happens and I deal with it. And I've studied for decades how to deal with that sort of thing. And yet strategy and inner authority makes that even so much more elegant. You know, I do the work, but it's so much less hard work. It's doing the work and enjoying the opportunity to do the work. You know, so most people find human design either weird or fascinating at the beginning. I wanted to flip it around a bit, because if, you know, I can share my experience and then you can find your own reasons to check out human design or reasons to reject it. But just to know that it's out there and there are people who love it and they're not obsessive zealots. I'm not. I've been around so many groups and so many different things, religions and societies and business approaches and politics and, you know, I've seen it all. I know what happens in group dynamics and stuff like that. And human design even throws completely new light on that is so healthy and opens the door to so much better community, teamwork, relationship. Oh, it's extraordinary. But being around all that, I know what it is to be a zealot, and, you know, and I just see it in the world all the time. I'm 67. It's like I've been around and I've seen a lot. No, I love human design because it adds value and, you know, it has really done so much for me in terms of giving me the things to do the work with and the clarity to do the work with and tapping me into my ability to do the work or my ability to guide and help people or whatever you want to call it. It hasn't taken away from me. It's just given me more and more options that work. And I love that because I'm here to enjoy life, not to just party, enjoy life. When I go, I want to be sitting there or whatever I'm doing at the time going, that was awesome. That was incredible. Thank you so much for that experience. Thank you. Now, what else is going on? What are the new options? And there are many things I've done in my life that have brought me more closer and closer to really being able to honestly do that. I mean, if it happened now, I could honestly do that. Human design came in and brought it down to the pragmatics of having a relationship, of finding work that truly fulfills you, of finding where you can truly live without having to think and analyse about it, but just to allow strategy and inner authority to open the door where life can come in and be your incredible ally. And it's the elegance, the joy, the ending of suffering and pain, you know, that isn't necessary or that's not needed. The liberating of my mind, the opening of my heart in gratitude to life. Human design has made a massive contribution to that. And in the lives of clients and people, you know, consultations, clients, people who are doing courses. It's done an incredible job with that. And anything that can really produce the goods, they're the people I've really stayed with. You know, the person who showed me how to meditate 40 plus years ago, the best metaphysics and spirituality and practical information of how to truly work with the mind and how to explore not only the practical side of life, but other dimensions. That person or that being really producing the goods, stick with them. That's where my loyalties lie. And human design, after 8.5 years, I'm not even sure what I'd say. I really go, yeah, even the way it's being taught now, because it's very new. Ra did an incredible job on getting it up and going and being the clarion. It's here, and getting the information out there, but it's so fresh and so new. And what I can see human design doing is making this world a much better place for everybody and being a major contributor to the end of suffering and struggle and alienation and negativity. Because people will be able to live as who they truly are and know what works for them. To me, that's a great thing, and that's what I love about it. So, I feel like I've said a lot, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something in there to inspire you. And if you're curious at checking human design out, or you're already involved in human design, be open. There's far more in there than what's in any books, tapes, videos, webinars, me or anybody else. There's so much more. And when you use the fundamentals of human design and really live them, that will open up for you, and you'll realize it's so personalized. You don't have to study a book and memorize it and then do it exactly as the book said at all. You just get the fundamentals about yourself, study as much about yourself as you need to or want to, and then live your life and see how life opens up for you in a way that satisfies you. I might not even be able to relate to it. It'd be nice if I could, because then I can appreciate it. But even if I don't, if it works for you, that's what matters. So it's been great talking to you. I'll see you again. Bye.